Hey you guys, I know I'm a little late getting to our next episode of From Fuller to Fullest. I think we're on episode 5, but like I told you last time, I'm gonna forget numbers and whatnot. So welcome back to my channel if you are a returning viewer, and welcome if this is your first time here. I'm so glad you're here. It has been an extra week and a half, I think, since fluffs all over where I've got you stood up. Since I was due for my next podcast. There's lots of reasons why that is, and we'll get to that in chatter. You know what? No, we'll go ahead and do chatter right up front, and then because it's not a whole lot. I am an essential worker, and we aren't getting a whole lot of leave time because we are essential. I work in healthcare. I take care of veterans every day, but I am also trying to recover from kidney stone surgery. So on last podcast day, I went in for surgery. I came home, everything went fine. I'm great. I'm doing really well. But that put a delay in getting this podcast out to you guys. So anyway, let's jump right in. I have lots of finished objects because this current healthcare crisis, where everybody's being asked to stay home and do their part, gives me a whole lot of extra knitting time. So I've got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 finished objects. Like finished, 4 of them, and 1 of them still needs to be washed and blocked. But 5 finished objects. I've got 3 works in progress and a couple of dream knits to share with y'all today. So let's just jump right in. This first one is, I think it's probably my favorite, but I've finished my Wonder Woman wrap. It is beautiful. I love it so much. I can't even fit this whole thing on the screen. That'll be a perfect thumbnail, right? No. So I made this with stunning string in the Serendipity base, I think. It's the merino silk base, and the colorway, I went and looked it up because I made some purchases. Those haven't made it here yet, so they'll be on the next podcast probably. But in their Broken Heart colorway and Spicy Mustard, and I just think it is wonderful and beautiful. And when we have another cold day here soon, I intend to wear it absolutely. So let me see if I can fight this big tangled mess of hair to show you. You can wear it draped over your shoulders, but I am more of a bandana wrap kind of girl. I want it right up front where all the bulk is here and will tuck into my coat and keep me nice and cozy. But so worn like this, you can't really tell that it's Wonder Woman, that it's, you know, the nerdy superhero stuff. So I like that subtlety of it, wearing it this way. And these colors are my absolute jam. I'm sorry if you hear that loud car coming down the street. Anyway, so my Wonder Woman wrap is done. That is a free pattern, actually, on Ravelry if you want to go grab that. Super easy, beginner friendly, I think. Great pattern. And I have finished the Simple Edition sweater. Now, I did make several changes to this. The sweater pattern calls for, you can either do short sleeves or long sleeves. So I got with my friend Michelle when I realized that this is not going to fit me well. There's fluffs all right here in front of the camera. Anyway, so this crop, she said she wanted short sleeves, so I did short sleeves. It is washed and blocked and waiting till I'm able to see her again to give it to her. And so I cropped it a little bit more, just because I thought it would look better that way. I did make it a little bit longer in the back, but I made this in Knit Picks Aurora Heather in the Wool of the Andes, which is their worsted weight wool. Super cute. Cannot wait to gift it to her, my friend Michelle. She's gonna look absolutely stunning in it with her beautiful porcelain skin. I finished another dishcloth. You know, I assume most of you are knitters, crocheters, crafters of some kind. Sometimes you just need those projects that you don't have to think about. And on days when I come home absolutely brain dead, I just don't want to have to think, but I need to craft on something to work the tension out from the day. Dishcloths are my go-to. Super easy. Love these. And so these have been worn. They have fluffs on them, long blonde hair on them because my daughter is blonde. But I finished these socks. I don't think you even saw these in progress, guys. I think I was getting ready to start these when I podcasted last. So these are done in the Mustache Yarn Good Guys, Bad Guys Must Match companion set. Must match. They don't match because they're made to mismatch. My daughter, y'all, store-bought socks. I cannot get her to wear matching socks. I just can't. It drives me crazy. I don't care if we're at home, but I'm like, your socks show out from under your shoes. They need to match. So I made her a mismatched pair because these are supposed to not match, so it's fine. But I believe this is the Good Guys here, like how I just dropped that, in the Good Guys colorways here. Gamora, Groot, Drax, Rocket, Lando, Mondo, I don't know his name, Star-Lord, and I don't remember. And then this is, what's the gold lady's name? I forget. But I don't remember all these. I know this one is Nebula here on the toe. And Thanos. Her name is really going to bother me. Let me see if I've got my phone where I can... I don't know. Anyway. Good guys, bad guys. Finished pair of socks for my oldest girl. And this is the one that's not quite finished. It still needs to be washed. It still needs to be blocked. And then it's going to get mailed off to a sweet little friend of mine who is expecting. She walked through a hard time. Her and her husband walked through a hard time. And I just wanted to share a little love with them and make a blanket for the baby. So this is just a simple rib blanket. You see it's not blocked yet, but once it's blocked, it's going to grow quite a bit. Because I'm a super tight knitter and I block things within an inch of their life. So they're going to grow like crazy, especially when it's super wash wool. I made this out of a bunch of my mini skeins, and she is doing a clementine theme in the nursery. So I did oranges and greens and some yellow and brown. One of her favorite princesses is Pocahontas. So this little section here, I did marl it with a gray cotton to make it easier to wash. But this colorway here that's marled with the gray, that is the Pocahontas colorway from Bad Wolf Girl Sits and Knits, her Pocahontas mini skein set. And I think this is John Smith out of that same mini skein set. And then these two, this one and this one, are all out of my second daughter's blanket. My husband and I walked through a miscarriage. We have a 9-year-old and we had a miscarriage when she was 3, and now we have a 16-month-old. And I made her, hold on, it's right here. I made a rainbow blanket for my rainbow baby. Crocheted this. She carries it around, so it's well loved. It's got lots of fluffs. And this is made out of the 100th sheep has a rainbow kit. I think it's called Promise. Something along those lines, representing the promise of God with the rainbow, and God promised not to flood the earth again. So this is her rainbow blanket. So I have the orange, yellow, and both greens from leftovers from this in this blanket for this sweet baby girl that's on her way. I love making baby knits. I do, because it gives me the opportunity to pray over them, and just for their purpose and everything God has coming for them in their little lives. And I love being able to love on families by knitting things for them. So it's my favorite thing about knitting, is it forces me to slow down. It forces me to take time to breathe, and also it gives me the opportunity to pray for whoever that is for, because most of the time my knits are not for myself. It is what it is. All right, so that's all my finished objects, and now works in progress. So I'm making another pair of mismatched socks, because like I said, I'm a super tight knitter, and I still have lots of this left over, so I'm making another set of socks. I'm not sure who they're going to be for yet. They'll probably end up being my oldest girls again, just being real here. I am doing an abbreviated garter stitch toe on these, and I'll do the abbreviated garter stitch heel like I did on those socks. So, socks, who knew? You just had to find the right pattern to enjoy them. So this is a half finished object. I made another sock. This sock is probably for me, because it was an experiment. One of my super sweet Instagram friends, Stitching Plaza, she does have a Etsy shop, Stitching Plaza. I sent her 2 skeins of fingering weight yarn that I had had for a while, and she so kindly cranked those up for me into sock tubes. So I've got all of this one. This is Stranded Dye Works Flamingo Legs on what she used to call her Oasis base. Got it right here, hold on. Which is 75-25 Superwash Merino. That's Stranded Dye Works. I think this was actually a Get Your Yarn Wishes Granted gift, if I remember correctly. So anyway, so I've got this big long tube now that I'm making into socks. So the first sock is done out of this tube, and I love this. I love it. It's showing up a little more orange on screen than it is in person. It's more of a peachy than orange. I love it. I love it so much. Super fun. So there's that. And then Stitching Plaza also cranked up this yarn for me, and this is a Lorna's Laces, words Morgan, Lorna's Laces colorway. It was one of their monthly special colorways called Tale as Old as Time. I think that's right. Yes, Tale as Old as Time. It was from February 2017 on their shepherd sock base, which is 80-20 merino and nylon. So this is cranked up and ready to be made into socks. My family, we wear short socks. We don't wear tall socks, so it would be a waste of time and effort to make the super tall socks because nobody would actually wear them. So I'm making shorty socks. And then this is the one that I have really loved working on. Really loved it. I started Stephen West's Star Blanket in blues and purples and grays. I am on Adventures with Yarn. You can find the podcast. You can find me as Mogo Fuller, and the podcast group as From Fuller to Fullest podcast. But I am entering in Adventure with Yarns Frozen Knit Along. And so I'm doing it in blues and purples. Love this. This here is a Blue Heron Yarns colorway. I don't remember what it is. It's Deep Stash. So this is also acting as my Use Your Stash cowl. This is Madeline Tosh, Tosh Merino Light in Fathom. This is a Frog Tree yarn. I don't know the colorway, but I know it's Frog Tree. And then this is from, one moment, Night Owl Fibers in Chim Chimney. So this is another Madeline Tosh. I don't remember what the name of it is. This one is another Madeline Tosh in Iris. So the beginnings of my Starflanket. I'm so excited. Love it. All right, so that's it for works in progress. I do have a Dream Knits or a NQ Knit. I frogged my, it was done in, I started it in Fathom also, but it was the conversion pullover by Telly Bean Knits, and I had made the change. I was going to do it in seed stitch on the front. That was not working out. It wasn't going to work. But I have a friend at work who loved the pattern just the way it was. She didn't want it in seed stitch, so I ripped out mine, and I'll go back to it later. But she ordered Tosh Merino Light in the colorway Holly Festival. Isn't that lovely? All those bright speckles. So I'm going to make her a conversion pullover to the pattern. I'm not going to make any changes. But I'm going to make her this. And it's going to be lovely and beautiful. And I can't wait to start on it. I'm probably going to wind up the cakes today. More than likely. And those... this is staying in my DFW Fiberfest from 2018, I think. 2018. It's staying in this bag. And so I'll show you some of the other colors because we've got time, right? So I've got some hedgehog fibers in Shiver that I'm going to use. All those pretty blues and purples, grays. This is actually the color that I was like, that would be great, and I've got a lot of it. So I'm going to use this. Some more of that Fathom. I do have, let's see, this is a Lolo Did It. I don't exactly know what colorway this is. This was sent to me on, for Get Your Own Wishes Granted too. Some more Bad Wolf Girls. I really think this is the Fluffs on my nose. I think this is the John Smith colorway. I'm not sure. I don't think she watches this podcast, but if she happens to find me, is this John Smith? I'm not sure, but it came out of that Pocahontas mini skein set. This here. Oh, not that one. That's more Fathom. This is how I found the color Fathom. It was a unicorn tail at my local yarn shop. And I was like, oh my stars, I need that. Well, she didn't have the full skein, but she had 2 unicorn tails. So I got those. And then I went to Madeline Tosh's site when they were having that huge sale and bought 6 skeins of it. 3 in Tosh Merino Light and 3 in Tosh Mo Light, which I think has some mohair content. This is the one I thought I was pulling out. This is Mandala. This is also Madeline Tosh. This is Mandala in Tosh Merino Light. Got lots of, this is, I'm not sure, this is just a gray leftover from my Comfort Fade Cardi. This is a purple and gray leftover. Lots of leftovers and minis and nearly full skeins because I never use as much yardage as the pattern says. And it always comes out the right size. I don't know what kind of magic I use, but I never use as much as it says. Y'all forgive my hair. It's big and bushy and crazy, but it needed to be left down. Ugh, fluffs. Here's some more of that blue heron. Oh, this is Bad Wolf Girls out of the Pocahontas mini skein set. I love it. I love this colorway. So lots of blues and purples and pinks and grays all going into that star blanket. I cannot wait. I know it's going to take a while because the thing is 7 feet in diameter. 7 inches. 7 feet in diameter, and it's going to take me a while because knitting takes a whole lot longer than crochet. I'll share this with you. My aunt taught me to crochet when I was 8, and I laid it down. I picked it back up as an adult in my early 20s, and then I taught myself to knit because I decided I really like the fabric of knitting. But let me tell you, I did not enjoy the process of learning, transferring from crochet to knit. There were several days that projects that I was learning on ended up in the floor. Let me just tell you, sometimes when you're frustrated with a project or you're frustrated learning a new craft, that right there will make you feel a whole lot better. Just pick it up and throw it in the floor. My aunt taught me that. I called her real frustrated. She said, just throw it in the floor. I was like, what? Just throw it in the floor. So I did. She said, do you feel better? A little bit, yes. So I threw it in the floor and it stayed in timeout for a couple of days, and then I went back to it. But now that I have mastered the skill, I can't imagine my life without that outlet. So anyway, I think that's all I have for you today. Hopefully by the next one, I'll have all my new acquisitions to share with you because there's lots of fun stuff coming. I can't wait to share with you. And I can't share it with you till it gets here. So anyway, I hope you have a great day. I hope that you are staying safe and staying well and not letting fear get its grip on you. Don't be afraid. Just use wisdom. I love you guys. Have a great day.